Hey guys, if you're checking out this video, I just want to give a couple shout outs to people who made this possible. I want to give a shout out to some, Denzelbin, Drell33, U Vertigo, Biggs85, Milo Pie, Gucci for Life. Let's go to the next page. God's Legacies, Anxious, Condorium. I always butcher that name, I'll just call him Condor. That's what I call him inside Twitch chat. Turkleton, Picosta, Echoman, a couple of those people, individuals there, donated once or twice, or just basically have been contributing towards this guide and helping me out. So as always, thank you guys so much. This guide goes out to you guys. You guys are awesome. I appreciate it, and hope you guys enjoy. Hey everybody, Debo here. Welcome to the Phase 2 tutorial video or video recap of the 24-hour Witch Doctor guide. If you're here and you haven't watched Phase 1 yet, I would advise to go ahead and check that out. I imagine I'll put something probably in this direction or up here, a little box where you'll be able to click it and go to Phase 1. But anyways, Phase 1 was basically mostly covering the leveling phase for the 24-hour Witch Doctor build. Phase 2 begins immediately after Phase 1 ends, which means basically you hit level 70. Just to go over some stuff, Phase 2 begins immediately after obtaining level 70, setting ourselves up to progress to Torment difficulties level 1 through 3, while also identifying based on what items have dropped, which build will be the most efficient for our Witch Doctor's run. And of course it says too, with a little bit of crafting and some luck, the phase will go pretty smoothly, and it pretty much is very smooth once you get into Phase 2. Phase 1 is very simple because you just follow the guidelines. Phase 3 is probably even easier because then it's just basically rounding off all the edges and making sure that you min-max. Phase 2, it can be a little bit intimidating, but a lot of stuff can be factored by luck. But my whole goal is just to break it down to you in a nice structured format on specifically what you should be going for. Now this video is going to try to be cut down into 30 minutes, kind of keep it short, sweet, and to the point. Now I'll go ahead and scroll back. When this guide, like I said, it'll be in the description, finishing up both videos today for Phase 2 and Phase 3, but if you're wondering for something more condensed and less in-depth, just make sure you look at the beginning of the section. I include an itinerary list where it shows you what skills to get, what level and stuff, and what have you not. And this is basically the really condensed version of what you're going to be doing in Phase 2 when it talks about, you know, the Boon or the Hoarder Gem, or upgrading all artisans to max, Boon or the Hoarder Gem, Jewel Crafts and Amulet, re-rolling gear, Torment 1, Torment, Legendary Gem, Torment 3. This is like the condensed version. The reason why I do that is so people can go back and look at the itinerary list to see what they need to do. It's very condensed from Phase 1, Phase 2, Phase 3, and then if they have more interest in each individual section inside the guide, then what you can do is you can just scroll down and go to Phase 2 in depth, where I break down everything in detail about why we do the things we do and why we're gearing it this way. Now, a lot of people might do things a lot differently, but this is just the way I follow little things and procedures when I'm trying to basically get the most of my Witch Doctor, and this is what I found to help me the most. So anyways, let's go ahead and get into Phase 2. First thing, upgrading all artisans to max level. Pretty simple, straightforward. Blacksmith, Jewel Crafter, and also the Enchanter, or Enchantress, or, you know, whatever you want to call her, Miriam, I think her name is. You need to upgrade these all to max level. Now, if you've been picking up your items in 61 to 70, you should have more than enough gold and last breaths to upgrade all these guys to max level. The main reason why we upgrade the blacksmith to max level is for future crafting of the Ogdos and Cane set, because they're pretty nice sets, and then also with the new patch with ancient items coming out. What's going to happen is that when we craft those sets, especially, they're going to have a chance to roll legendary or ancient item stats, which is going to be really good. So that's most of the time we're going to be using blacksmith for repairs, breaking down all our gear, and also crafting the you know, the Ogdos and the Canes. So that's pretty much all you craft. I mean, with some other classes they might use some things like the Crimson set or different things like that, but for Witch Doctor it's pretty much just Ogdos and Cane set. Alright, Jewel Crafter. The biggest thing about the Jewel Crafter is that he allows for the ability to craft rare rings, and the reason why I say rare rings and necklaces are so important because they give you so much good like damage stats, and that's where you're gonna be placing your legendary gems, and it's very easy to craft them, so that's really important. And you know, rare ring crafting requires 2 Marquise diamonds. Oh, I'm sorry, not Marquise. People are gonna go crazy. Marquis diamonds. I don't want people to go nuts. And gold per craft. The optimal stats you want when you start crafting these rare rings is real easy to get. It's easier to get a rare ring crafted than to find one, even a legendary one. It requires 2 marquee diamonds and gold per craft. And what stats you really want? You want int, critical percent chance, critical damage, and socket. That's what you want. Alternative, if it takes a while to craft a ring of that caliber, unless you get real lucky. Realistically, what will tide you over is getting 2 rings that have int, critical percent chance, and socket. If you can get vid or another easy stat on there, that's great too. But mostly just int, critical percent chance, and socket. If that's like an okay alternative to settle for. But like I said, eventually you do want that int, critical chance, critical damage, and socket, because that's going to maximize your damage. You can use an alternative as well too. And the same thing pretty much goes for crafting rare amulets. Requires 1 marquee gem of each of the color excluding diamond. So you need 1 emerald, 1 amethyst, 1 ruby, 1 topaz to craft 1 rare amulet. And you want the same stats: int, critical percent chance, critical damage, and socket. However, if your alternative, like let's say that, oh, Debo, well, if I can't craft a perfect necklace like that right away or re-roll into it, what is pretty acceptable to tie me over until I can? In this situation, you want both your rings to have, in worst case scenarios, you want both your rings to have int, critical percent chance, and socket minimum. And then what you want on your necklace is you want critical damage, int, and socket. And you might be like, well, Debo, don't you want crit chance too? Yeah, but the big thing is with the crit chance, you can get a good amount of crit chance on your rings, your helmet, and you can get 10% critical chance on your gloves, and critical damage only rolls 50% critical damage on the gloves. But the big thing is that on necklace, the only socket outside of weapon that can roll critical damage up to 100% is on your necklace. So you're going to have 2 rings, worst case scenarios, that have crit chance. You're going to get the critical damage from your necklace, and then your gloves will be able to have both easily, no problem. But like I said, at the end of the day, you want int, critical percent chance, critical damage, and socket for both your rings and your amulet. That's very important when you're beginning a new witch character and progressing your gear up, because like those stats make a hell of a difference in your witch doctor. Alright, and then of course the last one is the enchanter. Pretty straightforward. She's just to reroll your stats, like take vitality to percent damage on a weapon, or add triple sockets to that perfect chest that you don't that doesn't have it. Enchantress, that's pretty straightforward. I mean, she's not complicated at all. She just rerolls the stats. The only thing you need to remember is that if you're crafting jewelry with your rings or necklaces and their legendary status, it consumes 1 imperial gem of it, whatever it tells you to. Rings and amulets you can reroll forever as long as you have gems to reroll them with, and it's actually a lot cheaper than actually rerolling the items that don't require gems, because those items, every time you reroll it takes more and more gold to reroll it, and it gets really crazy expensive sometimes. And then also some pieces like the chest, the belt, the boots, some of those pieces are really expensive to reroll, so just be conscious of what you're rerolling. Bracers and gloves are by far the most lenient, and shoulders. Those you can reroll all day. But like, be careful when you're rerolling anything else outside of that. It does cost a lot, and until you get your Boon the Hoarder, it's going to hurt you. But I mean, you're going to get your Boon the Hoarder first because you need to make sure you generate gold. But just be aware of what you're rerolling, because it will go through a lot of your crafting mess. Now, that's the first part of phase 2. So we got all our artisans upgraded. We know what we're going to be using them for, and we know what we can start doing. Of course, we're going to start trying to craft our rings or our amulets. The next phase is the Boon of the Hoarder phase. The Boon of the Hoarder is really important because it makes gold not an issue, and if you don't have a lot of gold, you're going to be limited to how many rerolls you can do, and you're also going to be limited to what you can get crafted or done on your character, because gold is important until I mean, after you get Boon and Hoarder, gold is not an issue no more. But your first issue is to take gold off the crafting material tables, because gold is like a crafting material. It's a required thing. You need gold to upgrade your stuff or repair your items. So if we make it so that gold is not the main issue, and we make it so that we don't have to worry about it anymore, we have to worry about crafting mats, hey, we just made our lives easier. So it breaks down everything. Boon and the Hoarder, long story short, is a legendary gem that makes it so every time you kill a monster, it has a chance to drop gold. You can level the gem up at level 25. The secondary effect is it does provide a movement speed when you get gold when you pick it up. Works well with Thing of the Deep to increase the radius of the pickup of your gold, and then also in combination with gold wrap, it will make you pretty much invincible because you'll be getting so much armor. And outside of that, it can only drop from the treasure realm. Now, I know once you find it the first time, from what I heard, Blizzard has made it so that you can just kill monsters in Greater Rifts, and if you already found that gem on another character, even in season start of a new character, I had to go double check this, that you can get it from just doing Greater Rifts, but after you found it initially. But the first time, you're gonna have to find the Greater Rift. You're gonna have to find the Treasure Realm. So this kind of breaks it down on how I went about doing that. Because, like I said, as soon as you get this gem, you put it inside the socket of your ring, you'll start getting plenty of gold, and you can start saving up all your gold so you can start crafting stuff down the line. How do you get how do you go about getting the treasure room? By setting the game to the normal difficulty. The reason why we do this is because we want to make it easy, and we don't want to waste our time. We just want to get in there, kill goblins, get out, and reset the game and go right back in. So we're going to put on the easiest difficulty so we can just focus on killing the goblins. It needs to be in adventure modes, and it has to be non-rift. It can't be greater rift, it can't be regular rifts. And then we want to focus in areas where the goblin spawn rates are high. And do I have a list where I hunt all the goblins? Yes, I do. We're going to bring that up on the screen. My webcam's going to wait for a second, so don't freak out. And, oh, well, it doesn't even cover those screen. That's okay. Alright. So, as you guys can see on my screen right here, I think I can move my mouse over it. I don't know. No, okay, look. The green indicates the high chance goblin spawn. The red indicates that this is the area in Act 1 where you can get the goblin spawn. Or basically, what I mean by goblin spawns, where it has a high chance for a goblin to appear, not necessarily for the treasure realm to appear. The blue part is the pathway that spawns the goblin cocoon. Inside the written guide, I actually have it listed there. And what this actually is, if you see in the green in the bottom right-hand corner, that's Act 3. Where I hunt the goblins are in the tablet, is in the Tower of the Curse levels 1 and 2, the core of the area, and then also in the caverns of R&I. So we'll just talk about the Act 3 ones first. So basically what I do is I'll go into the core area, I'll clear everything out in that strip, try and look for a goblin. Sometimes they're there, sometimes they're not. Kill the goblin, leave, and I'll end up going to Tower of the Curse level 1 and 2, and check for goblins there. And if there's a goblin there, great, kill it, see if I get the spawn, the portal spawn. If not, no big deal. Then I end up going to Act 1 and going to caverns of R&I. And you've seen the top left section, you enter at the same point, but that pathway which I have listed in the circle, that circle, you're going to be able to see a lot better when you actually look at the actual, if you go to the guide and you look at the actual image. But in that area, there is a narrow strip of path. It spawns either to the north of it or to the south of it. So that circle area could peer the same exact way towards the bottom. You see where on the map I have the X indicated. That's usually where the special name goblin, the special name spider is injecting a cocoon, and inside that cocoon there's a goblin. So when you see that spider there, it doesn't happen there all the time, but sometimes they're usually there most of the time. You gotta let the spider inject the goblin, inject the cocoon, kill the monster, and it might drop something nice. And then you go up to the cocoon and you click on it. You might have to wait a second, but it is a cocoon. You gotta click on it. You click on it, and then after you click on it, a goblin pops out, and that's another goblin. That's like a high area where usually there's a goblin at. So you can see right there, the X is where the goblin cocoon is, and that circle signifies how the area looks. And it can spawn to the top or it can spawn to the bottom, that narrow pathway, but it's always there. So those are the 3 areas I check, or I go to, on normal mode, just to kill the goblins and reset the game. Reset, what does that mean? Leave the game, enter back in the game, and do the same thing over and over again until I get all the desired goblins, or until I get the goblin realm to actually proc and stuff like that. And for the most part, it only takes me like an hour and a half to get it to pop. I don't know if they changed the rates. I don't know if I was just lucky, but for me, it just took an hour and a half. So maybe I'm just lucky. At least in seasons. The seasons are a little bit more generous with the spawn rate. It could be different in non-season, but it shouldn't take you more than an hour or two if you're actually just going in there, hunting the goblins, getting in and getting out, and getting yourself situated. But yeah, once we get that gem, everything else is easy. Because then it's like crafting doesn't come down to, do I have enough gold? It comes down to, do I just have the crafting materials? And hunting crafting materials is a lot easier than hunting for gold when you don't even have the Boon, the hoarder. Getting gold out of Boon, the hoarder is pretty sucky. It really restricts what you can do. So getting that early on will make a big difference. Phase 2, re-rolling rare yellow quality items to decent standings. While hunting for goblins or simply running risks of foreign gear and match, you're going to come across a lot of rare yellow items, which is true. These pieces of gear help you gear quickly to get started in the torment farming, which they will. And I included like a basics list of what stats you want. When you first get these yellow items when you're at level 70, they're very simple. You might get a chest armor that has a triple socket, Vit, and armor. Okay, well, you can reroll the armor and get in, and you have int, Vit, and triple socket armor. It's not the perfect, it's not the most maximum best piece of gear you can get, but you know, just basically making sure these individual pieces that are rare gear that is dropping on the floor, you could re-rolling a rare item that drops on the floor is way cheaper than actually crafting it from the blacksmith. Significantly cheaper, because you only it's not too expensive just to re-roll a 1 stat or 2 stats. Now keep in mind, if it's on the shoulder, no, I'm sorry, if it's on the chest, the belt, the pants or the shoes is going to cost you. If it's on the shoulder, the gloves, and the bracers, it doesn't. It's really a joke to re-roll those. It's real easy, but you can kind of see how I listed everything. Like on shoulders, just to start off with, you want int, Vit, armor, and life. Helm, you want int, Vit, and critical chance. Very simplify what stats you want early on, just to get you with a good amount of damage, a good amount of survivability. These are not the most optimal stats you want on your gear, but it's good for early game, like when you just start setting up your Witch Doctor, getting some basic gear. Because when you go down the line, then you're going to start looking. I mean, if you look at my major Witch Doctor compendium on, whether you view this on Diablo fans or if you're viewing on Reddit or Battle.net or wherever, if you check my major Witch Doctor compendium, usually I have a list for it in every single guide I do. In there, it tells you like what's the best itemization for in-game stats on certain specific pieces of gear. But just for now, those are the kind of stats you should be looking for. They'll help you get started in the system right away and be able to progress towards, you know, getting towards Torment level 1 and Torment level 3. I really never do Torment level 2 because, like, if you do Torment level 2, you might as well just do 3. But usually 1 and 3. 1 is where you want to start off at first, because then you start getting legendary, Greater Rift tokens, and Torment level 3 is a nice, like, in-between area where you can start farming officially and getting an okay amount of blood shards and start progressing well. Because I always tell people, you either want to farm on Torment level 1, 3, or 6. I don't see the point in 4 and 5, and I don't see the point in 2. 5 I can kind of see, but that gives you a basic gist. But I have right here for Torment level 1 and 3. I usually hit Torment level 1 when I have 3 to 4 million toughness and 500k DPS, 350 to 500 depending. I usually like to wait till about 500k DPS and 4 million toughness. Now, if you want to go into it sooner and you can manage to find, then that's perfectly fine. And then, of course, Torment level 3 is the same thing, 4 to 5 million toughness, but this time 600 to 800k DPS. If you feel you can get to those Torments a lot sooner than that, then by all means do so, but that's kind of what stats I wait at. I look at those stats, I'm like, okay, once I get to these stats and I'll be able to run, I'll go ahead and start doing these Torments, just because things just end up working out a lot more cleaner and a lot more easier. And that's pretty much it for the Torment level 1 and 3 phase. The next thing is phase 2, next part of it, the major introductory Witch Doctor builds. These builds require no gear. You can just you don't have to have a specific item. Now, if you have certain specific items, it's going to make the build be a lot better. Let's go ahead and check out the two-handed Witch Doctor build. Very straightforward. Haunt resentful spirits, but in the future is actually probably going to end up changing to Poison Spirit Rune, which is going to be updated in the next patch. Pestilence with the Locust Swarm, Pestilence, Spirit Walker John, Piranhas and Zombie Piranhas. Zombie Dogs are lifelink, so they can take some of the damage for us, and Restless Giant. Pierce the Veil, Rust to Ephes, Gruesome Feast, Creeping Death. Only thing you need for this build, strong two-handed weapon, and then just itemize your gear correctly. Like if I was going, let's say I was using the new Haunt rune that's called Poison Spirit, that's poison. I'm using Locust Swarm Pestilence. That means, okay, I want gear that improves my poison damage. And then I know that these dot spells scale well with two-handed weapons, so I want to make sure I have a two-handed weapon. And then I know Haunt is my major damage dealing spell, so then on my shoulders, my chest, and, you know, I want to make sure I have increased Haunt damage. Just by doing that and having good rolls in your gear, that alone can take you pretty much to T6. Maybe you might need a Grim Reaper, maybe you might need a Quetzalcoatl, but you'll definitely be able to do T6 very easily. It's a very strong build, doesn't require a lot, doesn't put all the emphasis on your pets. And pets build is not a bad build, but the pure pet build, it really comes down to what specific items you get, and you do need to get certain items to get the most out of pets. Now, the secondary build is the one-handed pet build. This is pretty straightforward and generic, and it works pretty well, too. This is Rain of Toads with Piranhas and Paranado, Spirit Walk, Zombie Dogs with Leeching Beast, Restless Giant, Gargantuan, Rune or whatever, Big Bad Voodoo Slam Dance, and you got Pierce the Veil, Fetish, Sycophants, Grave Injustice, Midnight Feast. The reason for the Grave Injustice is it reduces the cooldown of every time you kill an enemy, which allow you to keep popping off Big Bad Voodoo, and then of course Midnight Feast improves the damage of the Zombie Dog and Gargantuan. This is pretty straightforward. If you were to go this build and just stack a lot of physical resistance and have good rolls in terms of critical percent chance, critical damage, and all that stuff, it can go up pretty high. But the thing about pet build is that to get it to T6 farming pretty easily, because if you go the dot build, you can just dot everything up and stand back, and the damage scales really well. But the thing about pets is pets get they're really item independent for the most part. Like if you have this build and you get a drum, you can instantly go to T6. You just gotta gotta get good rolls. Or like if you get Rinho Flailer, or you get Grim Reaper, that can take you to T6 if you just get good rolls with the pet build. But it's sometimes of a headache because you're looking for certain specific item pieces to get things done. So I would tell you just in general, go the two-handed dot build with the pets just to tank for you as opposed to just going the pure pet build. But I mean, if you're going early on and you just luckily happen to get, I got a Reno Flither Debo, okay, go to pet build. If you happen to get Drum early, go the pet build. Like if I got a Drum early, in some test sessions I did, I went straight for pet build. But for the most part, the most successful test sessions just happen to me just to go with the two-handed dot build because it's a lot less stressful. It scales so well, and then it goes immediately into Jade build, which is very strong. So anyways, those are the two introductory builds. Both are pretty decent, but like I said, I would recommend you go on the two-handed dot pet build at level 70. Very easy, doesn't require crazy gear. You can just get a solid, crazy two-handed weapon, and all the rest of your gear is pretty decent, and you'll be killing everything. Okay, the next phase is next part of the phase 2 is Greater Rift Legendary Gems. Greater Rifts are the way Blizzard ranks us against other players. And what it is an endless dungeon where you climb up every single level, and every single level you climb up, you get more blood shards and more chances for higher level, better gear, and then you rank against other people to say, I'm the best, or blah, 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 blah. But it also makes a big difference because it helps you level up your legendary gems. Legendary gems come from Greater Rifts. After you kill Greater Rift Guardian, you'll get one legendary gem until you get every single one. If you put your legendary gems on another character, and then you play that character, you play another character, let's say that you put your Bane of the Trapped and Bane of the Powerful on your Demon Hunter, and you went back to playing your Witch Doctor, when he kills another Greater Rift, it's going to drop those gems again, so it can replicate extra gems for each individual character. The way the gem leveling system works is this, is that if you're 10 levels above a gem's level, let's say we have a gem that's level 5. I'm on Greater Rift level 15. That means if I was going to upgrade it, at level 15, I would have a 100% chance to upgrade it because I'm 10 levels above. Now, let's say after I upgrade the level 5 gem to level 6 gem, now I have a 90% chance to upgrade it. Then I upgrade it again, then it go down to 80% chance because now it's at, level 8 or whatever have you not. And then once it gets to level 7, it has a 70% chance to upgrade, like when you're only 7 levels above. And then anything after 7 levels, from levels like, let's say I had a gem. Let me see, I'm at rank 15. Let's say I had a gem, I don't know, level 8 gem, right? If I'm upgrading a level 8 gem, if I am correct, my math might be a little bit off, but I'm halfway asleep this morning, so I apologize. But the way it works is, like I said, 10 levels above at level 5, it would be 100%. And then at level 6, it would be 90. Level 7, it'll be 80. Level 8, it would drop down to 70, and at level 9 to 15, it would be 60% chance every single time until level 15. Even when the gem's the same level as the Rift, so if I have a gem level that's 15 and the Rift level is 15, I still have 60% chance to upgrade it. After I go past that level, then it starts dropping dramatically. So basically, rule of thumb is you always want to make sure your gems are a couple levels above or 10 levels above to guarantee a 100% chance if that's possible for you. So you can maximize your gem potential and also upgrade them on a regular basis because every time you upgrade them, they get little special bonuses. And every single gem at level 25 gets a secondary effect, which helps out a lot. This is the reason why you get sockets in your jewelry early on, because you really, 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 really want those legendary gems inside your character. Both your one on each ring, one on the necklace, because those gems make a tremendous difference in your damage output and what you can basically do with your character. Let me see here. So that's pretty much legendary gems. What Witch Doctor builds to be focusing for? I linked my Witch Doctor Compendium right here, and you can click it, and it'll take you down here on the Reddit or Diablo fans or wherever you're looking. This video for on Diablo fans, I'll make sure it links to Diablo fan ones. But at the bottom, you can see all my different guides: Jade build, Tall Man's Finger, Carnival, Rinho Flailer, Grim Reaper, Helltooth, and Tiki Sack build. These are all the different builds, and I even added some stuff for Wormwood and extra detailed guides of each individual build if you want to see specifically how to do it and go into more detailed stuff. But that's basically all the different builds that witch doctors end up building towards. I also included like a little list of legendaries that can take you to T6 easily without requiring additional items. Jerome is a self-sufficient legendary that can take you to T6. So is Grim Reaper. Wormwood, which will only be available in Season 2, patch 2.12. It's a weapon. After the season's over in Season 2 and it ends, then it'll come into normal standard play. But the only way you will get Wormwood early on will be in Season 2. Quetzalcoatl, which is a Voodoo Witch Doctor helmet, and Rinho Flair. All those items can by themselves, geared with the right gear, even just got that one item and you geared all your extra gear just nicely, can take you to T6 very easily. And as you can see, I had the different drop rates by the items, just so you guys know what's the percent chance to drop. So when you see this Jerome Voodoo Helmet, is when you see 9% drop rate, what that basically means is whenever you get a Voodoo Helmet drop inside game, you have a 9% chance that Voodoo Helm will be a Jerome. So basically, let's say you got 10 Voodoo Helms, then pretty much if you round 9 up to 10, 1 out of those 10 helms should be a Jerome. Whereas if you were looking at maybe like, let's say a Grim Reaper, usually 2 out of 10 of those helmets will be Grim Reapers. So you'll see a Grim Reaper probably before you see a Jerome unless you're lucky. I mean, that's just how the drop rate works. So you probably won't see 10 Voodoo Helms right away. Like let's say you get 10 legendary drops, maybe 1 out of 10 might be a Voodoo Helm. Maybe 2 if you're lucky. So you can kind of get the statistics and stuff like that. And I have like a little detailed thing where it explains what the drop rates mean the following. You read up on that. And yeah, I mean, it's kind of grim for some pieces of items, but for the most part, you can pretty much safely say you're going to get a Grim Reaper. A Wormwood has a high chance if you're playing seasons, and then you'll probably get lucky with Quetzalcoatl, Rinho Flair, Jerome, one of those other items. They might drop, they may not. But that can definitely take you to the next level in getting to T6. Well, if you get any of those items early on, all you got to do is just round out your items, make sure they have good stats, and you'll hit T6 no problem. Or at least T5 within the first 24 hours. All right. And oh man, that went pretty quick. That was the end of phase 2. I mean, that's pretty much all there is to it. It's just getting your Boon in the Hoarder, getting the good rolls on your jewelry, starting to get into farming Torment 1 to 3 just so you can get yourself to Torment 3 as fast as possible, identifying what items you have, what build you want to get, and what you want to carry on to. And I mean, that's pretty much about it. Phase 2 is a little tricky and it requires some luck depending on what items you drop. But I mean, once you're good at identifying, oh, I got this drop, I can go this build, and then you could take it to T6 once you get good at identifying that kind of stuff, or just realizing, or you know, especially once you get your jewelry crafted, you get your Boon the Hoarder, and you get a nice item that can take it to T6. The rest is easy. It's just getting yourself to Torment level 3 as fast as possible. And once you hit Torment level 3, you got a pretty decent item that can take you to T6, and you have all that stuff. You're pretty much setting yourself up for the final phase, which is just grinding out the game for the first whatever remaining amount of hours left over to get your gear up so you can get to Torment level 6 or 5 by the time the end of the 24 hours is ended. So let's say that I started phase 2. I got my Boon the Hoarder. Excuse me. I got my jewelry, and I got let's say a Rinho Flair. And I got lucky too, and I got a Grim Reaper. I'm like, oh, okay, well, now I can focus around that build. I know exactly what I need to do. Now, I might get other pieces, that'd be nice, but I'll save them. But now I'm like, okay, well, I know Grim Reaper and Rinho Flair can take me to T6 easily with that build. So now I'm going to just start focusing and building around it. And then if I'm at Torment level 3, I'm pretty much done with phase 2, because now I'm entering the grinding phase where I'm just basically doing these runs over and over again on, you know, regular rips and stuff, and upgrading my gems just to piece by piece, you know, upgrade my damage and improve myself. So by the time it says 24 hours in game done my Witch Doctor, it could be doing T5 and T6. But most definitely, like I said, I'll probably also put a link somewhere around here that links to the 3rd guide phase and the 1st guide phase, so you guys can always go back and check those out. But as always, I appreciate you guys watching the video. Thank you for being here with me on the phase 2, the gear progression phase. In the next video, it might be even shorter because it's the grinding phase. And phase 3, which just breaks down basically what you're looking for and how you're going to itemize, just to make sure that within the first 24 hours you're at that T5, T6 level. So anyways, thank you guys for watching the video. I'm Debo, and I'll see you in the next video. Hey guys, if you appreciate the video you just watched, make sure you guys like, subscribe, and follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. Make sure you check me out at twitch.tv spsdebo. And then if you'd like to support my future endeavors, just check me down at patreon.com/Debo. Thank you for your time and check you guys later.